Let's fix our chat. I wish there was a save preferences option on that. Let's decide which one we want to do. And I did finally find where I can get more of her books. So that is something that will be happening eventually. And I was surprised to find Walmart carries them, actually. So I'll be ordering more of them soon. I think this might be the one, but I'm not 100% certain yet. Actually, you know what? I think we have our picture. We did this one last time. We did one of hers. And I'm just kind of double checking to see if there's one that catches my attention more. That one is really cute. So is that, actually. I guess we could do one of these guys. Not 100% certain yet. That one is very pretty. She really does do some amazing artwork. But I think we're going to stick with this one. And I think we're going to go pretty, like, holiday traditional, just for the fun of it. Excuse me for 1 second. You may hear an odd noise. I got hair on my earpiece. There we go. And that is not the red I was aiming for. That's more of a pinky dark. I want... not that. Let's see. More like that. And this is one of those rare times where I will actually kind of do some of the line work and stuff a little bit darker just to create the flow. Since I'm not doing one of my grayscale books. But we're going to go with the red for the dress. Hello, Ristiu. We're going to go the red for the dress, a dark green for the bottom, and gold for this, and then this will obviously be green for the leaves and gold for the berry, or red for the berries. Hello, David. How we doing today? We're not going to go super crazy. I was aiming for 3 o'clock today. I hit closer to 4, so that's always fun. There we go. I'm almost never precisely on time for any of my lives. I give myself a basic timeline of what I'd like to hit, and then just kind of accept whatever happens, because life is a little bit chaotic. And especially this time of year, and when you're running on just a little bit of sleep because your cat decided to eat a stink bug and run you completely out of your bedroom. That was the fun of my house last night. Thank you, David. This is one of my favorite artists. She does a lot of coloring books, actually. And her name is Selena Fenech. And she does a lot of fantasy, a lot of different types of artwork, but a lot of fantasy stuff. And I plan to get more of her books because not only does she do really good artwork, but she has this thing, and it's all of the books that I have of hers do this, and that's where you have the full coloring book, but then you come to this page, and she gives them all to you again. So if you say, I decide I want to make this picture look different, I just have to find it over here, which, did I go past it? Nope, there it is. I can actually color this picture again. And hers are the only books that I've found that seem to do that. She also has what she calls grayscale coloring books, which is really cool because they're pre-shaded. Hello, ST Films. How we doing? Actually, I think I want a darker green than that. But at least we got that guy sharpened. There we go. So I am not the artist that drew the picture. As you came in, you kind of saw I was talking about the book and the artist. I think she is quite amazing. And I think we're going to do candy stripe stockings just because we can. I just realized I missed the underskirt a little bit. Thank you for that. It's actually a favorite hobby, and it's very, very calming. Please forgive me if my voice gives out a little bit. I was very, very sick last week, and yesterday was actually the first day that I went without medicine. Today is the second. Almost completely over it, but my voice is taking its time coming back fully. I figured I haven't done a lot of holiday pictures, so I figured this might be a good one for today, seeing as I won't be on for the weekend, same as always, and next week is actually Christmas, so I probably won't be on a lot next week either. Unfortunately, the week of Christmas is also the week that my partner goes back to work. So I don't usually post a lot the first week after he has to head back. I give myself a little bit of time to settle into the routine. Excuse me. And I did pull out one of my favorite cups for the day. I have a lot of crazy mugs, but this one is actually probably one of my favorites because it is just really neatly done. And I actually got this one at Adventure Aquarium in New Jersey, which I probably will never make a trip back to because I really don't plan to go back to New Jersey if I can help it. I enjoyed my time living there, but I'm actually happy to be back in my home state, which is Kentucky. Now I gotta get these guys really good and pointy because I need to do teeny tiny little details there. Now, if you're talking to me in the chat and I'm not answering, I promise I'm not ignoring you. It is very hard to watch my chat while focusing on details, especially like these little bitty ones up here. So I promise I will look at the camera or look at my chat here in just a minute. But first, I need to do this before I go completely cross-eyed. Thank you for that. I enjoy it. It's a really fun and relaxing form of art. I wish I had the skill to draw the pictures, but since I don't, I thoroughly just enjoy coloring them. It would be so much easier if I could just zoom through my camera, but I cannot. I tried that. It didn't work. There's a depth perception issue from the camera, so it doesn't work. There we go. But it would have made those teeny tiny little details so much easier. And what we're gonna do, since she has her little stockings on, and yes, I know I could do all of one color, but I have a bad habit of getting off pattern if I do that, so it's just easier for me to just go one stripe at a time, and it kind of lets it show the picture a little bit better. Now I am going to go, I think, I was going to leave it white, but I think it would be better golden, since I did put a few gold details. That, and I'm kind of having fun with this. So that really came out messy. Let's see if we can soften that up. I really almost made the next stripe red instead of green. Hello, Giovanni. How we doing today? I missed your original hi there, but now I see it. Feel like I hadn't seen you in a hot minute. There we go. I do hope my voice decides it feels like coming back all the way sometime in the near future. The periodic squeaking like a teenage boy is not the most fun I've had in a while. We've almost got the red and green done, and then we can just go back with the gold. You know what? Since it's the last stripes, we're gonna just do that. Change it up just that little bit for the last two of these. Thank you for that, David. I am trying to keep it kind of holiday festive and still bright and cheerful and fun. I'm definitely not regretting the choice of going with the gold instead of the white. I think it just fits a little bit better. There we go. Now we have stockings. Thank you. I hope you do as well. Let's see. Since I've got my gold in hand, I don't know why I feel like this ornament should be gold with silver stars, but I do. So that's what we're going to do. Here we go. May not go, this one may not take me as some of my others have, but I thought it really just fit today. And I haven't done one of these in a little while now, so I've been kind of stuck in my gardens and fairy houses. So a little bit of holiday fun is not a bad plan. Now what's nice with my silver and gold pencils is they are actually kind of shimmery, which is hard to see in this lighting, but it is there. So it actually gives that more metallic feel. There we go. You're getting there. And I figured I colored her the red and green just because I kind of want to have a little bit of fun with the coloring on everybody else. And she's got her perfect little holiday outfit going. I have not decided what color we're doing her wings yet. Still kind of chewing on that, and I'm always happy to take suggestions if you have any. I guess we could do them gold and maybe a little bit of silver detailing just to kind of tie them in, but I'm not locked in on that just yet. Let's see. Of course, we have to have at least one that is blue, because it wouldn't be one of my coloring pages if there wasn't just one spot of ridiculous amounts of blue. Well, that didn't go as planned, did it? Hello, Thumbelina. How we doing today? I haven't had that happen too much on this particular pencil. Of course, it was the time I actually need it reasonably sharp. So what I'm going to do on this guy is we're going to go light with it, and then we're going to come back and darken some of the stripe stripes in, but I just want this nice base blue. And hopefully my pencil will not break again in that process. And I'm fairly certain my power just flickered a tiny bit, which, seeing as it is extremely windy outside, is not an unheard of concept. I don't know if you guys spotted that or not, but and then we're going to come back in with this again. I want a more proper red. Why do I have 3 dozen shades of red and I can't grab the one I want? There we go. Now, I did not want her dress to be like a pure bright red because I did want to be able to do a few things in that tone. So I didn't want everything to just kind of tie in and become too monochromatic. It's just not as much fun for me. But it still gets the point across and gets the feel of the pretty holiday dress. I am going to use the same red and go ahead and do these berries. Might as well knock them out while I've got the pencil in my hand, right? It adds a little bit more brightness to it. There we go. Now I need a different shade of green. Which I should have sharpened this guy before I started using him, but I did not feel like it, if we're going to be 100% honest. But I will probably end up having to do it anyway. But that's okay. And once again, I didn't want to use the exact same green. And we'll be using a different green also for the pine needles showing. If you've been on my lives a few times, or if you've seen bits and bobs, then you know I have probably 3 dozen different shades of green that I use. And it just came to pouring outside right now. All right, I gotta sharpen. It's harder to do the smaller ones with a dull pencil. Well, that's a first. 2 different pencils in one day. It happens. Some of these pencils are quite old. you get breaks in the color, and it happens where the lead just falls right out. Okay. That did it again. This is going to get very aggravating after a while. I am very glad I am inside at my nice, comfortable, warm table and not trying to do anything outside right at the moment. It is just absolutely pouring to the point that you can hear it really, really hard. Okay, I am giving up on this pencil. I don't like to change colors in the middle of something, but that pencil just keeps breaking. And as I said before, I do have about 3 dozen different shades of green. So, let's see if I can find one similar to that. Maybe one that doesn't have the exact same problem going on. You know what? We're just going to take this one that we were using before and just color a little harder with it. They're far enough apart that it shouldn't be super obvious that they're slightly different shades. Hello, I am not 100% certain how to pronounce your name. And I really don't want to completely just butcher it. But I do see you. I have finally stopped arguing with my green pencils and found something that is working. And you've got to be kidding me. Because that one feels like, maybe not. Just getting paranoid now. Now, since we're in a good pattern here, let's grab yet a different shade and do this guy. I'm also kind of debating on her hair color, which I actually have a really good copper pencil that I think is what we're going to go for her hair. I have redheads just because I am one, and I love the coloring. Hello, Jay. How you doing today? There we go. Oop, almost. I'm doing pretty well. Enjoying the fact that I am inside, considering the fact that outside is very, very rainy right now. Let's see. What can we use on a red ball other than the standard green? Actually, you know what? I have a nice shimmery green that'll work for this. I'm not going super nuts doing a whole bunch of different shades. I'm just going to make it this kind of bluish green for this part. And we'll let the other parts just be texture. There we go. Now for the fun one. I think this is going to be a handful of different colors. And there we go. I'm not going to go full rainbow just because it is kind of hidden and I don't want to kind of go too bonkers with it. But we're definitely going to have some fun tones in there. Pardon me as my voice decides to do that thing where it doesn't want to work again. A little bit more blue because you know I love my blues. And I think, where's my bubble gum? It's baby pink. Where's my bubble gum? I have an absolute favorite pink to use, and it is this one. And it is actually bubblegum pink. I realized I have no pink on this page, and that's not very me. I haven't decided yet. That may come to match kind of this. It may be like primary colors. I have not decided on it yet. I think we might go the primary colors because it does look like one that I had on my tree as a kid. But I think we need to give her some color. That means I have to actually take the time to figure out where in the world my copper pencil is, which is always a fun challenge. And if you ever wonder why it takes me a minute to my colors, I'm very organized with them. Really, I am. But it makes for a great sound effect as I'm searching through my colors. I do love the sound of them bumping up against each other. That is a very pretty color. I'm going to pull that out because I might use that later. There's a very large amount of my stuff when I do these that ends up being kind of decide as I go. Oh. Nope, that is mauve. That is definitely not the color I was looking for. There she is. She's just broken. Again. You know what? I think just because the other end is not being very cooperative, we're going to cheat. And this is not something that's necessarily something I would do with every single pencil I own. But it does come in rather handy in a pinch when I just don't have the patience to chase the breaks. Oh, that's why it's not wanting to go up in there. There we go. And I did actually sharpen the other end of this pencil because the lead is broken quite deep inside. And apparently that's going to be a theme. She may not have copper hair. This may have to be a tossed pencil. Actually, that looks like it's pretty decently in there. The good news is we don't need to go super hard. It just needs to get in there and give that nice shimmery tone. I'll have to do my greens and reds again in her hair. I'm actually glad you said something about the little bauble in her hand, because I had kind of forgotten about that one. There we go. It didn't come out the way I intended. I don't usually like doing this type of thing to my pencils, but we got the end result we wanted, so there's that. Now I know I need a new set of metallic pencils because this is my only copper. Thankfully, they're not that expensive, so I can pick one up eventually. I think we're going to finish giving her skin tones and stuff once I get the holly leaves and berries in her hair done. There we go. It's quite the hairpiece she's got going there. Hello, Carolyn. How are we doing today? Excuse me. I'm not trying to do every single little berry by themselves in this case, because they are just almost strung in her hair there. I did notice I missed this. I also missed a leaf. I almost colored the leaf copper. Also don't need it blue. Okay, I am on a roll today. I am going to use Peach Puff as her skin tone, which is just this really kind of pinky peach. I can't mix skin tones as easily in colored pencil as I can in paint, so we just kind of have to go with what works best. And if it's not perfect, I've never seen a human with that type of wings, so we're just gonna let it lend to the fact that she's not human. She is a fairy, and her skin might have a little bit of a pinkish cast, right? A mod is somebody you can have, like if I was big and I had, hundreds of people in the room at the time. A moderator or a mod is somebody who kind of watches the chat and makes sure people behave themselves, removes inappropriate comments, or asks people to, stop when they're being a little bit much. They can also boot people from a room for you or mute them if you don't want to remove them from the room, but you want them to hush for a little while. Basically, they're like hall monitors for your chat. I currently actually do not need a moderator. I do a pretty good job of keeping my chat in line on my own, but I do appreciate the offer. You don't really want to do, oh, actually, you don't want to put people you don't know overly well managing your chat because they can actually cause you a great deal of problems as well. You don't take a chance of somebody who's going to be just randomly booting people or things like that. And I have made a decision. I'm going to go very, very light with it, but this is one of those because I can moments. But if I get to the point where I do need moderators, they will probably end up being people that I know outside of the internet. Excuse me. Please bear with me. As I said, I am just getting over being really pretty sick. So, still got a bit of that cough left. Still fighting with my voice. But I no longer feel like I could just sleep through the next week. So that's probably a bonus. Why I decided she needed shimmery purple wings, I don't know. I just did. It's always fun. If you enjoy drawing cats and things like that, you're more than welcome to draw mine. There are quite a few of them in different colors and fur types, and definitely personalities. The one from my video this morning was Miss Kitty, which she refuses to take any other name, so we just gave up and started calling her Miss Kitty. She responds to it, so it works, right? And then I have another tortie like her, that is actually her kitten, named Mistra. She has a little bit different markings, though. I have one very, very small black cat and two much larger black cats. One is long-haired, one is short-haired. And that would be... Let's see. Am I down to nothing but that other bubble left? And I blasted right past my 30-minute mark. Usually I catch that and say something about it, but that's all right. There we go. And I do apologize for the moment of quiet there. It takes a little bit of concentration to get the small details like that in. I missed an opportunity to make the stars yellow, but that's okay. The red does pop against the blue pretty well. And what I can do is come in here and do the rest of it. Since I actually didn't put any other yellow, which is very unlike me. Let's get this little metal piece here and the hook. And I think we have her actually all the way done. Now, I probably won't make it on Monday. I don't know for sure on Tuesday, but I will definitely try and get in on Wednesday and do a live. I do work for the weekend, so I won't be back on this week, but I will try and get some shorts up, and I'll be back live as soon as I can. So until then, I'll talk to you guys next time.